Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. I thought we would do something a little bit different today. I've had a few requests from people to actually do a review of my very own BMW K1. You would probably have seen that I've obviously ridden the bike and had done quite a few videos of it, but I've never actually reviewed it. So I'm going to review this bike today like any other bike review video. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump on the bike first, we're going to take it for a good ride, then we're going to pull over somewhere, and we're going to have a good look around the bike, and yeah, I'm going to give you my exact thoughts on the bike now I've done quite a few miles on her. And is it worth having an older bike, or should you just say, you know what, I'm just going to buy a new bike? Because there are pluses and minuses for both. Right, she's bone cold, she hasn't been started in a few days. Yes, we still have that persistent ABS issue. I'm waiting for a new switch. So that will be coming in, well, I'm hoping the next few days. And yes, apart from that, touch wood. Well, I mean, if you've seen the previous videos I've done with this bike, we have done quite a bit of work to it. Well, mainly on the fuel system, because this was a barn find bike. It was in a barn for a good 18 plus years, maybe a bit longer than that. So she doesn't need tons and tons of warming up, which is good. So we'll leave a little bit of choke on for a while till we warmed it up properly. Yeah, so today isn't a history in the BMW K1. I mean, if there is interest in doing that, I will do a longer extended video on the K1. So I will obviously give you a few sort of facts in regards to the K1, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's not going to be a history lesson because, yeah, I don't want to bore the life out of everyone. Unless people want to be bored. And I will happily do a more detailed, because I'm a bit of a nerd like that. I like all the history sort of side of it. So yeah, if there is interest, then please put that in the comments. So how long have I owned this bike now for? Oh, that's a good question. 5 months maybe? 4 or 5 months? I've done a few 100 miles on her now. And in that time, what have I done? Well, the usual, the fuel system needed all going through. Brand new fuel pump, brand new sender unit. I've had 2 obviously new tyres put on the bike. So yes, and then there's a few other bits and bobs, new indicator lenses and all that good stuff. So yes, had a few bits, but that doesn't really affect our review because that's not what it's about today. We are going to be reviewing this like any other motorcycle. So this is a 1990 on a G plate BMW K1. They made them from 1988 to 93. And yes, this is in a rather fetching yellow and red combination. I'm not sure it's something people would do today, but it certainly stands out. Well, it's actually it's the red, the yellow and the black. It's actually sort of to represent the German flag, which I didn't know actually till about a month ago. And that actually, I loved the colour before, but that made me love it a little bit more on top. So hello to all you guys in Germany. Yes, I think this is my favourite colour, but I also love, they do like a Dakar yellow as well, which I really love. But yeah, they seem to be rare as rocking horse. So yes, I like those. And I actually do kind of like the more subtle blues and stuff as well. I mean, I've wanted a K1 for quite a while actually, and yeah, the opportunity arose where there was a bit of a project one. So yeah, if you haven't seen the videos, go check them out, because I've done videos of yeah, when I got the bike and the work it needed. So yeah, there's quite a bit of history on YouTube about that. So first thoughts, how does the bike ride? Well, it's heavy, right? It's 236 odd kilos, so it's a heavy old thing. And yeah, the centre of gravity seems quite high up compared to most other bikes as well. So it feels a little bit strange. And also, what's kind of annoying with this bike is, well, they said it was some kind of protection system as well that it's built round with. Let's be honest, having an accident on any bike isn't really going to do you any favours. But yeah, they reckon this cocoon effect actually is good for protection on the bike. But what I find is when I sort of try and move around on the bike at all, sort of, you know, you want to scurry forward or whatever else, the fairings get in the way. So yeah, it's sort of a strange feeling. You sort of have to take your legs around the fairing a bit, which is a little bit awkward. And I'll tell you what, once you have done a few miles, you can feel some serious heat coming out the side here. It is yeah, some serious heat. It's very hot down there, so yeah, that's a bit of a negative point with the bike. But how does it sort of run and ride compared to a new bike? Well, I think you'd be quite surprised actually. It doesn't feel like such an old bike that it is, in fairness to it. You know, it made a remarkable difference when I changed the tyres. That was an absolute game changer when I changed the tyre. I mean, this is a relatively low mileage bike for the age. It's only done 16,000 miles, so it's not had a hard life. It only had one previous owner to me. So yeah, it's been looked after, and then it was just unused for a while. Well, a long while. But power wise, what does it feel well, it doesn't feel particularly powerful. It's 100 horsepower, 75 pounds-feet of torque, and yeah, we've coupled with that 236 odd kilos. Yeah, it's not blistering. I mean, the whole point of this bike was for an emissions target back in the 80s, so hence why it was sort of they really focused on aerodynamics more than they did on power. And it is pretty good on fuel, in fairness. I think it does about 45 mpg, so yeah, I've been quite impressed with that. But comparing it to a modern bike, it's, you know what, it's very similar and very different at the same time. I mean, this is a sport touring motorcycle, so yeah, it's a little bit riskier than I would like. I have looked into risers and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, so far I haven't taken the plunge. And the foot pegs on there are quite high up as well. And if you've been riding anything sort of, you know, naked wise and for a while, and you jump back on this, you really do feel like you have to sort of wrench your legs up onto it. But it is quite comfortable. It's a really comfortable seat, which is quite rare in today's world. It's a very soft, comfy seat. There's plenty of space on the seat as well. It's not like a little tiny seat like the CB 750 Hornet was quite tiny, and you could feel it was quite small. Same with the GSX 8S. Obviously, they're not comparisons with this, but I'm just comparing it to a modern bike. That there is a big old seat on this, and yeah, so if you are quite tall or whatever else, you're not going to struggle. You might struggle a little bit with the height of the pegs, but that's pretty much it. It's a very smooth engine, very smooth, very quiet. Yeah, it's a bit of a gentleman's express is how I like to describe the bike. But yeah, if you want to be doing sort of Sunday morning scratching, then yeah, this isn't really the one for you. But yeah, if you did want to do a long tour or a big old bit of distance in one day, then yeah, I don't think you're going to be left wanting. I mean, I'd love to do a trip to France, but that brings me on to my next point. Is I've had a lot and owned a lot of old bikes, and there'd be people who disagree with me here, but they have issues, right? Whatever great one you buy, just you're trying to use a bike that's 35, 40 years old. Issues are going to happen, and they do arise. So yeah, there's always that little bit, am I going to have a problem if I go away and do a long journey? But so far, touch wood, since owning the bike, it's been fantastic and better than some modern bikes I've owned. But the plus points, well, it's very cheap to insure. I think I pay about 80 quid a year or something like that. It's small sums compared to values of whereas I think they value. I think you get a decent one for around about sort of over £5,000, and then look, the sky's the limit really when it comes to that. Is if it's a super low mileage mint one owner bike, then I'm sure you're going to see people asking the world for them. But this is it's a tarted up K100, isn't it, really, to a certain degree? There might be a few people get a bit upset about that, but it is basically the flying brick in a frock, which I've got no issue with at all. So yeah, the clocks, which I love, are obviously so analog. In today's world of where we have full on 5-inch TFT screens and all that sort of stuff, it's nice just to see what you need to see. We're going to be nice and let these people go. My good deed done. But yeah, I love the gearbox on this. This is one thing I'm a big fan of. It's a really nice gearbox. It sounded a little bit clunky. As soon as I say that, it sounded clunky, but no, it's not at all. It is quite precise. You do have to give it a bit of oomph-age. It's not the softest thing in the world, but I really like it. And how does it handle? Oh, well, since I put new tyres on it, very differently. But yes, it's slow to turn in. It is a bit slow to turn in. You notice the weight as well. I mean, this bike is great for these sort of roads now where you're just on a dead straight, but yeah, it takes a bit of concentration if you come into anything too twisty, but that's also really rewarding. We're going to take it on a bit of a twisty road shortly, but it is a really sort of rewarding bike because yeah, you do have to sort of, I think you have to bully it a little bit to get it to do what you want it to do. We will pull over shortly as well, and I'll give you all the specs as we always do. It's a standard road test today. So there wasn't vast amounts of these sold. I think it was just under 7,000 units. So it's rare you will see one. And if you're out on the road and there's a person who's into their bikes, they do get a little bit excited if they see it about. And I must be honest, I can't remember ever seeing one on the road at all, actually. Or about anywhere in the flesh. I mean, I've always fancied one, but I don't think I'd actually had seen one till the point I'd bought one. I mean, I may have done it, you know, the odd bike sort of event or whatever else, but I can't remember. And it's the sort of thing I would remember as well, and I'd remember the colour and whatever else. So yeah, I don't think I'd actually seen one before I bought one. But as you're probably aware, they are an acquired taste by some of us. The brakes are really good on this bike. But yeah, it's incredibly stable. As you can see, the brakes are very good. For such a heavy bike. Always the way, stuck behind a lorry. We'll let him get a bit of a gap between us. He's given it quite a bit, actually. But yeah, suspension is, I'd say, quite softly sprung, actually, and I like that. I've ridden a lot of bikes recently, and they seem quite firm, but this is very compliant, and I like that. It's no armchair. It's just a little bit on the wristies. That's my only complaint. As I say, you can get risers for that, or you can turn the bars over a bit, so there are options to cope with that. But I am a bit of a moaner when it comes to that sort of thing, so I'm sure the vast majority wouldn't even notice that. What I also like about this bike as well is if you've ever ridden anything like a ZZR 1400 or a Hayabusa, not really a direct comparison, but you know, you can't use every bit of it. You know, you're always managing, you know, to hold back. With this, you don't have to. You can really give it everything it's got, which is fun. But yeah, they weren't exactly a sales success. I think they were, you know, that old cliche of being a little bit ahead of their time, maybe. I mean, even now it still looks a bit crazy, doesn't it, you know? I had a neighbour come round the other day just to come and have a look at it. But even on these crappy back roads here, it's perfectly comfortable. Where I bought an RSV mill up here a little while ago, and it was banging and crashing all over the place. Oh, it was pretty hellish. Right, we're going to pull over somewhere pretty to have a look at the K1 in detail. And no, I'm not pulling over somewhere pretty to detract from the looks of the K1. I actually like the way it looks. I have had a few people in the comments not big fans, but there you are, there's no accounting for taste, is there? Right, let's get off and have a good goosey gander. Right, so here she is in all her glory. So yeah, she's knocking on a bit when it comes to age now, that's for sure. So yeah, she's 35 odd years old, so she's no Bambino. But as you can see, she's got ABS, which is obviously giving me a lot of jip at the moment. She's a little bit dirty because I've been using it. But what shocks me about this bike is just how well it's put together. It is all like solid pig iron everywhere. Like everything is so well screwed together. It's pretty impressive. I mean, even down to the 12-volt socket here, which again is also giving me a little bit of jip at the moment, but everything is just full on built to last. It's crazy. And as you can see, this was the last time it was when it had a tax disc in 07, so that was the last time it was on the road. So yeah, I mean, you just got basic fuel gauge. You can turn the ABS on and off. I mean, there's not tons and tons of stuff to go through with the bike, which is what I kind of like, because at this age it's just a lot less to go wrong. But yeah, she's no mincer. She's got the odd mark here and there, the odd stone chip, just from age and being moved around the garage. But it's, you know, it's a good looking thing, isn't it? I think. I know there's a few of you that will probably disagree, but yes, I like the way it looks, especially when it's got the single seat unit on the rear there. That's something I do like a lot, and I've tried to sort of make it a little bit more sort of up to date with, you know, the Aiuchi sat nav and phone connectivity and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I've changed the lenses. They were really hard to get hold of, but I changed the lenses for original BMW ones. So yeah, I've even got a tyre pressure monitor on there as well, so I can measure my tyres pressure, which is really good. So yes, it's a funny looking thing from the front, isn't it? Look at that. It's been designed with a ruler, hasn't it? So yes, standard exhaust system on there, so I will be keeping that all exactly the same. I won't be modifying it at all. I want to keep it as original as possible. So we're going to change the screen here as well, because you can see I think someone has mounted something on the top there, or yeah, and it's had a bit of a done a bit of a job on it, hasn't it? So we're going to replace that, and that's a good £100 and something. So yes, it all adds up, doesn't it? So yes, I just wanted to give you a proper look around, because I've been riding the bike and whatever else, but you haven't really got to see. I mean, you saw it when I did the long extended sort of shakedown, but I've never really sort of given you a proper review of the bike. So let's get back on it and take it for a longer ride. We've got a centre stand as well, which is good. This has actually got a side stand cancellation, so if you've got it on the side stand, you can't start the bike, which is a real faff, but that has been bypassed now. I can just change it back whenever I want as well, but it's a real pain having to just sit on the bike to wait for it to warm up. So yeah, we don't do that anymore. So we've got a gear indicator as well. What an absolutely tremendous day. That's for sale. Wowzers. I think that's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, that one. Oh, and a big thank you to all you guys as well. I hit the big 1,000 subscribers on the weekend. So thank you very, very much for your support with that. It has been... yes, you've all been very complimentary, and yeah, in time frame, I think it took around about 3 months, I think, from 0 to 1,000 subs. Right, okay, this is not good, is it? So yes, we hit the big 1,000, so thank you to you guys so much. I appreciate it massively. So we have got plans to celebrate that in the next couple of weeks, which I won't bother boring you with now. But yes, I hope to bring you some more exciting motorcycle focused content. And I like to ride this bike actually, like I just short shift everywhere. I don't thrash the living daylights out of it. It's a sort of bike you can just short shift and cruise about on. Just the ride quality is what always sticks in my mind with this bike. The ride quality is really good. Even still, I've not replaced the rear shock at all. It's had new full coil and dust seals and fork seals and all that good stuff, so it's had all that. But yeah, the rear shock is standard, and it feels fantastic. But yeah, I'd love to have seen what people thought of this bike back in 1988 when it came out. That would have been really interesting. Well, in those days we didn't have the comment section right on YouTube, so people were probably a lot friendlier about it when they were speaking to you know, speaking to dealers or whatever else. But now the dealer brings one out on the internet, then people are very quick to say their exact thoughts. So yeah, it would have probably been very different back then as it would do now. Yeah, so forgive me, I didn't want to do a full-on history lesson about the K1 today. I just wanted to show you how it rides and what it feels like, and should you buy an old modern classic? That's the question. Should you buy an old modern classic? I think we're so spoilt today with, you know, if you want, you know, your sort of retro cafe racer-esque bike, then, and you're not particularly mechanically minded, or you've got no interest in repairing it when it goes wrong, then I would say no, don't. Just go and buy a, you know, a modern day reproduction of a cafe racer type bike, because it will be better in all aspects. Which is going to upset the purists for me saying that, but yes, there is no comparison with the feel of an older bike, and that's what you really pay for. It's the sort of the circus around that and how that feels, and yeah, and it makes you feel like you're going back in time. Whereas a modern bike doesn't really do that, because it still feels very modern. It's only when you get off and look back and you go, oh yeah, it's a modern day cafe racer type bike or whatever else. So yeah, I think there are niche. I think this video isn't gonna talk you into it. If you like old bikes, you like them anyway. You know, that's not a video like this is never going to change that. But you get the diehards out there who get very upset. I mean, I had comments before about when I did the BSA Gold Star debate. It's not a BSA, it's not a Gold Star, it's not this, it's not that. Well, this all keeps the dream alive as well, right? You know, you can have both, right? No one is going, right, we bought the new one out now, we have to go and crush all the old BSA Gold Stars, no one can have them anymore. Then I get your point. But getting angry over the fact that there's a newer version coming out is, you know, and it doesn't soil the bloodline at all. See, I'm feeling a bit of heat out the side of these fairings now. So we're going to take you for a whiz up the bypass, and I'll show you what it's like on those type of roads. We've already done a long motorway video anyway, so I won't bore you with doing another one of those. It's exceptional on the motorway actually, especially if you haulch in a little. But the problem is, once you've ridden an adventure bike or an adventure style bike on those sort of conditions when you're doing a long trip, it's just so hard to compete with them, you know, because they make things so much easier. Where this style of bike isn't particularly popular anymore, you know, like it was, you know, years ago, where you had the K1300S and you had all that sort of stuff, and you had the Hayabusa, and you know, you had all the Blackbirds, and you had, you know, the ZX12, and you know, they're not shifting units anymore. I mean, it still picks up its coattails, but you know, on full-on throttle. You know, it's not. Yeah, it's not mind-bending performance, but it's so much more than you need on the road at the same time. It's just that we're all a little bit spoiled now with performance. You can go and buy a Honda Hornet 1000 that's got 150 odd horsepower, you know? It's crazy, really. But yeah, I'm not getting buffeted by the wind at all. Not at all. Obviously, you'll probably be able to hear a bit of wind noise, but yes, at the time, this was the most co-efficient motorcycle you could buy. Yes, it does look like it's been designed with a coaster. The guy's just pulled one out and gone, oh, here's my pen. Right, I'm going to knock up a bike now for BMW. But there is method in the madness. But I think you feel that though. It's, you know, that it is efficient. You know, even though it's, you know, knocking on 40 years old. Because I've ridden bikes, obviously, that are brand new that I'm getting buffeted and knocked around on that 60 mile an hour on dual carriageway. So it does make a difference. But yeah, it's got quite a low seat height of around about 780 mil. So if you're a little bit shorter in the leg, you're going to have no issues with this bike. There's not many bikes knocking on 40 years old that I'd feel confident with, you know, giving it full throttle and whatever else. I mean, you know, a lot of it maybe has come to do with that, you know, I know it's had these bits done to it and whatever else, and you feel a little bit more secure from that point of view, because, you know, a bike being on this earth for 35-40 years, it goes through a lot of in those times normally a lot of owners, and, you know, a lot of things happen to it. So yeah, trying to buy a good one is, you know, the sort of people that own this type of bike anyway, they're not going to be boy racers. It's not like trying to buy an old GSXR 600 S-Rad or anything, you know. The type of people that own them, you know, will look after them, and they'll probably be a little bit like me, a little bit nerdy with it. You got to love it when the van driver comes bombing past and then you just come past him filtering. But yeah, you do get a few funny stares from other motorcyclists. A bike to purchase that is a modern classic, then it's a relatively easy bike to live with, that's for sure. It's not highly strung, or, you know, you're not going to worry, is it going to start in the morning? Look, I'm tempting fate by saying these sort of things, because I'll probably come out tomorrow and the thing won't start. But I think it was like when BMW were at its best with it comes to engineering and stuff. Now, I mean, I'll be blatantly honest, I like being, you know, newer BMWs and whatever else, but I would say build quality, you know, I've had a few and I've bought and sold a few, and I can tell you that, yes, I think maybe now they're a little bit overhyped when it comes to quality and whatever else. But yeah, back then, not at all. See, look, a long sweeping corner here, it's excellent. It all comes down to what are you comparing it against? Just a modern motorcycle, or are you a sports tourer, or, you know what, you know, that's a difficult thing. I think the best thing is to not. I think it's to take it on its own merit, that it's a bike that was designed in the 80s that's still very usable today, and any quirks you might find with it are probably all part of, you know, maybe part of ownership. I mean, I do normally say that, you know, I try not to see negatives as pluses, but this is a little bit different in this case, because I'm not reviewing a brand new bike, right? This is very much a second-hand one. But yeah, the throttle response is really good, but I'm feeling some serious heat now out the side of the fairing. I might buy a chicken from Morrison's and stuff it down the side there and have a nice rotisserie when I get home. Well, at least my fuel gauge is working now, because I had a bit of an issue with the sender unit getting stuck, and now it's had a bit of an adjustment, shall we say. It now seems to be doing okay. But yeah, any excuse to come out on the K1. I thought it'd just be nice to do a bit of a review video for you guys. I have heard some people say as well about these sort of bikes that are a bit unwieldy, and, you know, they've had issues with them in sort of moving and manoeuvring them and, you know, keeping them upright. But I can't say I've had that issue. It still shocks me how, I think the best word to describe this bike is capable, even today, you know. Now, could you use this bike every day? Well, I mean, you could use any bike every day, right? You could use a Brough Superior every day if you wanted to, but you're going to get your hands dirty. With this, I don't think you're going to get your hands dirty as such. I just, you know what, if it's a decent, well looked after example, and you've done all the bits it needs to it, like the fuel system, whatever else, I can't see an issue with that at all. I think you could daily one. But the proof is in the pudding, right? Because I am itching to take this bike away. But normally when I buy a bike, I'll have a bike for a trip, so I'll buy a bike, but I'll do a journey on it first. Normally with my dad, we'll ride down to Hastings, we'll have something to eat, we'll ride back. I'll put 100 miles on the bike and I'll make sure there's no issues with it. And I've been doing the same with this, but I've been going to the nth degree of, yeah, using it loads and loads and loads, and it hasn't let me down. But yeah, there's always that age thing in the back of your mind, which I'm sure a lot of you be watching this, and you BMW fans will you tell me how much better it is than a modern day bike. But you know, it's just silly things like, you know, the ABS was fine when I was riding the bike for 40-50 miles, and then I had an issue. You know, it's only the smallest of issues that can scupper your trip when you're away in France or Germany, you know, and 9 times out of 10 you can't find out there and then what the issue is. And even if you can and you find you need a part, well, you know, and there's only so much stuff you can take with you as well, right? You know, you can't load up with spares. But I mean, anything could happen, right? On any bike you could have a, you know, your tyre could totally give out where it can't be repaired, and you're in the middle of nowhere and stuff. So, you know, it can happen to anything. But you try and mitigate these issues. And by mitigating, I mean you try and use the newest bike you possibly can, really. But yes, I am going to do a trip on it. And I'm going to prove to you all, and myself, that older bikes can still be used just like newer ones. Could like and subscribe. That would be fantastic. And please stick in the comments what you'd like me to test ride next. If you want to go to doble.co.uk, have a look in their news section, have a look in their used section. Yes, and put in the comments what you would like to see me test ride next. Yes, a lovely 22 degrees. Right, so would I recommend you go out and buy a BMW K1? Well, selfishly, I'd recommend that you didn't, because I wouldn't mind another one to play about with as well. And yeah, that's only going to push the prices up of the very few that are remaining anyway. But in honesty, yes, I would. I've had lots of old bikes and whatever else. This is the most usable one I've probably had. One that you could actually use and enjoy. So yeah, old BMWs in general. And you can get a steal on some of them as well. But yeah, if you live where I do, make sure it's ULEZ compliant, because otherwise you're going to have to take it for a ULEZ test, and it gets very expensive, as I have found out recently. So, but yes, I would highly recommend an old BMW, and especially the K1 or even the K100, the flying brick. So yes guys, that's pretty much my summary. So as always, thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe and all that nonsense, and I'll see you in the next one.